Shabbat Shalom, everybody. B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh V'Natzeach. This week's Parsha is Shemini, and it talks about the laws of kosher, which species of birds, fish, four-legged animals are kosher. And the great doctor and Jewish giant, the Ramban, Rav Moshe ben Nachman, explains, why do we really keep kosher? We have to know kosher is of colossal importance. We human beings constantly need to eat. Why must we only eat kosher? So Nachmanides, the Ramban, explains that, for example, you know that the non-kosher birds are like owls, eagles, vultures. And Nachmanides explains that all of the birds that we see in the Torah that are not kosher, they're cruel and attacking birds. And this is really why we need to keep kosher. Kosher is the diet for your soul. Just like we see heart disease, it's been proven, can be 100% eliminated by all vegan diet, no oil, nothing unhealthy. What we eat also affects our soul. So if you eat animals that are cruel, that are nasty, that rip apart, that have no mercy, the soul of that animal will affect your soul and it will make you the same way. So you are what you eat from your head down to your feet. The spiritual energy of that animal will, God forbid, cause you to be cruel. That's why we find all across the board the same thing the Ramban says by four-legged animals. The species that are kosher are very tame, calm. Lions and those wild animals are all non-kosher. Why? Because they attack. They're cruel. They're there to rip apart. And we know one of the most important reasons we are created is to be like God, to emulate the Almighty. And God is full of mercy. So if heaven forbid you eat these animals that are cruel and just totally have no mercy, that is going to be developed in you. And it's no coincidence, historically, per capita, anywhere around the world, and the Jews have been all around the world, we never find, it's very seldom you find in any prison or on death row Jews. Because for thousands of years Jews have been eating kosher, and the kosher food, another thing a lot of people don't know, even if you eat a kosher species, but it has to be slaughtered kosher because all the blood is taken out. And the blood also is a very big sin it talks about. So I gave a very beautiful mashal about this, and that is that, you know, the soul of a Jew is a very special soul. And just like a very expensive car, like a Rolls Royce, BMW, or Mercedes, you need to put very specific, more expensive gas. So therefore the soul of the Jew also, which is elevated and has to understand the Torah and become angelic, has a very specific diet. And I wanted to go on a psychological level also. Not only do we keep kosher because it's one of the worst consequences of not keeping kosher is that it blocks your seeing the light. When you try to meditate and have a deep connection to the Torah, and it's only through the Torah that we could cling on to God. It's called Timtum Halev. Non-kosher food blocks the light. That's why there's a debate amongst the greatest rabbis. If a Jew wants to do teshubah, he has a spark to come back and repent and become a authentic, fully devoted Jew. What is the first mitzvah he should keep? Many say it's Shabbat, but there's many chachamim. One of my mentors, Chacham Netanya Lee, and I believe one of the great gedolim of America, they said, no, kosher is more important than Shabbat, because when you eat unkosher, it brings this cruelty and this negative spiritual energy into you. It blocks. Timtum halev. The heart is closed. The heart has no desire for spirituality. The heart has no love for Torah. The heart has no, and unfortunately, it becomes animosity towards holiness and spirituality. So it's very important. Some people say kosher is so colossally important that it's even more important Shabbat as the first baby step to come back to God, because it opens up your soul and your mind to be able to embrace and understand and absorb the Torah. Like a great Chacham said, it's like when these people eat at kosher, the words of Torah, the words of holiness, the holiness of the commandments, Asher Kidishanu v'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, is like a bulletproof vest. It's like a water repellent that people put on their, waterproof jackets. It just doesn't go in. The water, the warmth, the Torah, which is like water of the universe, doesn't go in. And there's a second reason I want to say. On a psychological level, every time you eat kosher, the Jewish nation right now is in the biggest mess it's ever been, with assimilation across the world. The only safe people are really the ones in Israel. And every time you keep kosher, subconsciously, you're reminded that you're a Jew and you have to follow the Torah. So may Hashem help us to really cherish our soul, our glorious soul, which is it's a spark of the Almighty. We need to take care of it, feed it, the kosher food only. So therefore, by keeping kosher, it makes us more spiritual, more relaxed, not aggressively attacking, and then also it stops the blockages. It allows us to absorb the holiness and the beauty